What's up everyone, welcome back to another video with the Millennial Finance. Today, I'll be sharing about what resources I use to find stocks to buy and how I keep up with the stocks that I currently own. Cha-ching! When investing in individual stocks, of course it's important for us to find the quality ones. And even after we make the first purchase, it's important for us to ensure we keep staying up to date with what the company is doing and make sure that it's still doing well and all our thesis is still intact. At bare minimum, I would say that we should keep up with their quarterly earnings, see how they're doing, and see what management has to say for their guidance moving forward. So with so much information being available right now in the internet, I'll be sharing what I use to find this information. The first place we can do all of this is of course at our brokers themselves. Currently, I use Rakuten for Malaysian stocks, and I use eToro and WeBull for US stocks. If you want to sign up for Rakuten or WeBull, you can use our links down in the description below. So going to Rakuten first, they have a nice screener where we can find stocks that we want to buy based on certain criteria that we set. Also, they have some basic information about the stock that they share with us, like the PE ratio, market cap, and dividend yields. My favorite part though is their research and news tab. They share daily reports on technical analysis and sometimes even share investing ideas for all of us. Also, I can go to a section they call My News where I can keep up with the companies that I currently own in my portfolio. For US stocks, WeBull has a lot of information on the platform itself, and I've already mentioned this in a previous video, but if you haven't watched that already, go check it out. They provide news and financials on your stocks. That's pretty basic, but what's cool is they have this tab called Analysis where they share institutional holdings, analyst projections, and even insider transactions so that we know who is buying and who is selling our favorite stocks. These are all great information for us to have. Unfortunately, it's not so transparent in Malaysian stocks, but you can do this for your US stocks. Now that I've gotten all the basic information about the stocks that we want to buy or the stocks that we currently own, it goes on to the second resource I use, which is TradingView. This is not 100% necessary, but I do use charts and technical analysis for me to find out how my stocks is doing, of course, and to help me time entry prices or whenever I want to buy more of my shares. So TradingView is currently my favorite choice for trading. Previously, I used this other software called TrendSpider. It had a lot of very cool features, but the platform was a bit laggy. So my friend and I decided that we're now going to use TradingView. I've used it before and it's completely flawless. Another good thing about TradingView is that it's completely free for everyone to use for the basic version, where you can then upgrade if you want. For most people, you can just stick with the free version. You don't even have to pay for anything. I personally pay for it because I want more indicators, but that's just a preferential choice. So if you don't know what to do with charts or how they can help you in your trading or investing, check out our video on technical analysis. That's very basic, and hopefully you get the hang of things and you can start using TradingView for yourself as well. Don't think that just because you're holding things for the long term, you don't need to look at stock charts. While it's not 100% necessary, it's very good to know still. So other than the basic charts, they also have screeners for you to look for stocks based on the criteria that you set, similar to how Rakuten has it for Malaysian stocks, but this is more for international stocks. Also, TradingView actually has charts for Malaysian stocks as well, so you can use that for that purpose too. So we've gone through the basic stuff, the brokers, the charts. How do I find out fundamentally what companies I want to invest in? This brings me to my third resource that I use, which is Seeking Alpha. This is a website that I use so much and I really enjoy going through the articles and an analysis that I can find on this platform. There is one issue with this though, is that Seeking Alpha is actually a paid subscription. It's quite expensive. It's $30 a month or $20 a month if you buy for the full year. I do find the value in it though. I use it almost every day, so I don't mind paying for it. But if you don't want to pay for it, you can only read something like 3 articles a month. If you really find value in it, then maybe you can buy the subscription if you want. So what does Seeking Alpha give us? It's basically a platform where anyone, any writer can write analysis on stocks, and they are not hired directly by Seeking Alpha, but they do get a small commission every time someone reads their article. I really enjoy this because I get to see the point of view of many different people, and most of the times they do very extensive research going through multiple resources just to come up with that one article. I don't really have the time to go through every single 10Q or every single SEC filing that company makes, so I just read the articles that these guys make and pay for it. I use this to get most of the fundamental information on my stocks, whether it's me trying to buy a new stock or keeping up with the existing stocks that I have. Amazon has recently acquired a company called MGM, which is a media company, for nearly $10 billion. So as an investor of Amazon, I want to know how this impacts the company so I can go through the multiple articles that's already come out where people share their views on whether this acquisition was good or bad. Even though I may not make decisions based on this alone, it gives me a good feel of how people think, and there's a lot of information out there that they help consolidate in just one platform. So if you don't want to pay $30 a month, it's expensive, that's completely understandable. There are also other websites that we can use, and one of my favorites is the one called the Motley Fool. I don't like this as much as Seeking Alpha, but it's good enough because it's free. So they also have a paid version where they give us stock tips or what they're buying, but I've never subscribed to that, and I honestly don't have any intentions of doing it in the near future. So the difference is, these guys, they're actually hired writers. They're hired under the Motley Fool, and they're supposed to write articles as part of their day job. There are a lot of free articles that you can read. There's no limit to how many you can read every day or every month. But the thing about it is that the articles are usually less in-depth compared to Seeking Alpha. However, it's still good enough, especially new investors. You guys can use this. Go to the website, type in any stock that you're invested in, and read from the list of analysis that the writers have made up. Also, one very good thing about the Motley Fool is that they have earning calls transcripts for most companies. So as I said earlier, I believe that every single investor should at least keep up with the companies that they invest in based on an every quarter basis, or at bare minimum an annual report, and you can read the transcript of what management has to say about the results on the Motley Fool. So why is this important? It's because in these earning calls, management actually talks about how they did in the past quarter and how they think the business will do in the next few quarters. And this actually has a very big impact on stock price. Also, there are analysts on the call, so after the CEO and the CFO are done talking, analysts will start asking them questions and they'll answer them, so this is also a very good place for us to get information. So, Seeking Alpha and the Motley Fool are both for international stocks. How about Malaysian stocks? Sadly, the information out there that we can find on Google is much less compared to what we can do for international stocks, but I have found my favorite platform to find out about stocks on the Bursa exchange, and it's called KLSE Investor. You can get basic information like their financials, their market cap, their dividend yields as well, but this isn't really what they're good for because we can also find this on Rakuten like I mentioned before. The more important part is that we can see analyst price targets. So for example, if we type up something like AirAsia, we can see what fund managers like Kenanga, like Public Bank, and Hong Leong Group think about the stock. But that's not it. There's no point knowing how much they think the price will be in 1 year time. We want to know why they think so. So if you click on the little magnifying glass that they have at the rightmost column, it actually comes out to an analyst report where the companies like Kenanga actually explain why they think AirAsia's stock price will be at this price in 1 year time. Here, you get to read into the mind of an analyst who for sure does a lot of research on these companies, and you get it for free. This helps us get a bit of information about the company without having to scroll through their entire annual report or going to multiple websites just to get the same information. Other than what the analyst has to say, KLSE Investor website also has this tab called Headlines, where we can read articles about the stock where anyone in the community can write about it, similar to Seeking Alpha. These articles are either written by analysts themselves or random people in the community. A huge thing that I have to remind all of you about the last 3 platforms I mentioned, which are Seeking Alpha, the Motley Fool, and KLSE Investor, is that when you read these articles by these people, take it with a pinch of salt. Don't make investing decisions purely based on what these guys have to say. At the end of the day, you have to form your own opinion, and these tools are just what we use to help us make that. For example, someone wrote on KLSE Investor about how they think that AirAsia is on track to become ASEAN's leading super app. That is a very bold claim, and I personally don't think this will happen. There are so many competitors out there with a lot more money. I said this before in my AirAsia video. There are the likes of Grab, Shopee, and these guys are not gonna let someone become a super app without them knowing. So even though I disagree with him, I still read the article just to know his point of view because I don't think it'll happen, but that is just my opinion. I need someone else to come in to help balance my opinions, and even after reading it, I still hold the same views, which makes me have a much larger conviction on what I believe. Remember, just because they did a lot of research, they write very well, and they sound smart, it doesn't mean they're right. The same can be said to us. Just because I'm sitting here in front of a camera sounding smart, doesn't mean I'll be right. Just do your own research, read from multiple people, have all these resources come into you, and then form your own opinion on what you think about the companies. So moving back now to US stocks. How do I find out about the financial information about the company in more detail? I use this website called Koyfin, and it's completely free right now. This website gives me really detailed financial information about the companies that I own, but I only use it for a certain amount of things, but it still does the job. It can look really complicated and intimidating because there are just so many numbers out there, but once you get the hang of things, I believe that any of you can do it. So what I usually look for whenever I want to buy a company, let's say I want to buy Nvidia stock, I just quickly type it into Koyfin. I look at their revenue growth, their profits, their profit growth, and can even find things like their price earnings multiple or their price to sales multiples. These information, yes, you can find it on other websites as well, but I haven't found one who presents it as well as Koyfin and has as much information as they do. I also put all the stocks that I own and companies I also want to buy onto a watch list, and I have certain columns like the price to sales ratio and their gross margins so that I can have a feel about which companies are slightly overvalued or slightly undervalued compared to the others. Again, this website is completely free, so no harm going out and trying it. The last place that I use to find information about stocks to buy can be a little bit of a surprise because it's actually Twitter. This is by far my most used social media app. I really love it. I go on it every single day, and my timeline is actually purely on stocks and a little bit of football and a lot of memes. For one reason or another, a lot of investors seem to be flogging towards Twitter, where there's really good information out there compared to Facebook, Instagram, or any other social media platform. Because I use it so much and I find so much value in it, I actually became an investor in Twitter. I won't talk about the company. There's a lot of execution problems, but there are bright sides for the future. One of the cool things that Twitter is actually trying to do is that they're trying to be something like Seeking Alpha, where we can subscribe to people that we like and read articles that they produce every single month by paying a fee to them. But that's not here yet, so I won't go into that. So I follow a lot of these financial Twitter guys, or they call themselves FinTwit users. I use them to help me find new ideas in terms of what stocks to buy, or they even have sometimes information about stocks that I currently own. So when I find new ideas, let's say someone says that they're investing money in this company called Twilio. So I then get this idea and do my research using the other platforms I mentioned previously. Some of the cool guys that I follow include Puru Saxena, Backpacker FI, and this account called Plant Math. So these guys share very valuable information. A lot of them are ex-hedge fund managers or even fund managers, and they even share their portfolio every single month and what stocks they invest in. So by looking at the stocks that they currently own, it gives me ideas as to what stocks can be exciting. And then I go onto other platforms, like I said, I do my research, and if it's good, I buy it. Most of the stocks in my portfolio right now, around maybe 60 to 70%, I found out only because of Twitter. There also is this new trend in Twitter, of course, which is these guys making threads. So it's a series of multiple tweets where they talk about either an entire industry or a certain stock, and these can be invaluable. So there's so much information out there in the internet that it can sometimes get confusing. I try to narrow down the amount of sources that I get information from, but truthfully, this is quite difficult to do. At the end of the day, like I mentioned, we should not follow every single thing that we find on the internet. There are a lot of fake things going around. People talking about stocks where it's going to go up even though it's a trash company. So all of these things we need to be careful about. Like I said, these are all just tools to feed us information, but at the end of the day, we have to form our own opinions because It's our money, it's our responsibility, and when we invest in these stocks, it needs to be our conviction. So I hope this is helpful to all of you. I know a lot of you guys are telling me that I have no idea where to start with investing. I think that going through this list of platforms that I use can be very beneficial. Let us know down in the comments below which is your favorite platform to get information about stocks to buy. Give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? See you guys in the next one. Peace out.